The Bold and the Beautiful B&B. Spoilers reveal that Bill Spencer, Don Diamond, could plant some doubts in Brooke Logan's, Catherine Kelly Lang, mind about her future with Ridge Forrester, Thorsten Kaye. Bill recently questioned why Ridge and Brooke hadn't gone through with another wedding extravaganza by now, but Brooke acted like it just wasn't necessary. This isn't Brooke and Ridge's first rodeo, so she doesn't see the point in some big ceremony. However, Bill kept probing and was skeptical of Ridge's commitment. Deep down, it seems like Brooke actually wants to tie the knot again, so she may eventually bring the idea up to Ridge. After all, there was a time when Brooke was supposed to be designing her own wedding dress. Brooke wanted to surprise Ridge with what she came up with, but then B&B dropped anything related to their nuptials. Now might be the perfect time for Brooke to bring up that special wedding gown and suggest maybe they should restart their wedding plans. Brooke may reiterate that they don't need a piece of paper to prove anything, but she might suggest it'd be a fun party anyway. Perhaps Brooke will play it up as a chance to celebrate their love with all the people they care about. Of course, Ridge will inevitably pump the brakes if Brooke pushes for a wedding at this point. Now that Ridge knows about Taylor's broken heart syndrome, he certainly won't want to add to her pain. It could leave Brooke wondering why Ridge is so against the idea of remarrying her if he pushes back hard enough. Ridge promised Taylor that he wouldn't tell Brooke about her condition, but Brooke may still get the feeling that his wedding holdup is about his ex. This kind of thing could serve as the beginning of the end for Brooke and Ridge. We won't be surprised if Ridge has another Taylor wedding down the road instead, so stick with us for more romantic predictions and updates on where Ridge's heart will lead him. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Brooke may be out of luck in the bridal department, so stay tuned for news on her future. CDL's where you want to be for sizzling Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, predictions, news, and updates, so make us your favorite B&B hotspot. The sun rose gently over the Forrester mansion, casting soft golden rays across the sprawling Los Angeles estate. Inside, Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, stood at the window, her mind swirling with thoughts of the past, present, and future. She had been through so much with Ridge Forrester, Thorsten Kaye, a lifetime of love, heartbreak, passion, and betrayal. Yet here they were again, tied together by a bond that seemed unbreakable, or was it? Brooke's morning had started with a conversation that left her unsettled. It had been Bill Spencer, Don Diamond, who sowed the seeds of doubt, questioning why she and Ridge hadn't gone through with another wedding. Bill had brought up a good point. Why hadn't they made it official again? Brooke initially brushed it off, telling Bill that she and Ridge didn't need a grand ceremony to prove their love. After all, they had been married multiple times, and this wasn't their first rodeo. But as the conversation wore on, Bill's questions began to gnaw at her. Why hadn't Ridge suggested renewing their vows or planning another wedding? Could it be that Ridge wasn't as committed as she thought? Bill had always been the master of planting doubt in her mind, but this time, Brooke couldn't shake the feeling that maybe he was right. Brooke glanced across the room at the sketch pad lying on the table, the very same one she had used months ago to begin designing her own wedding gown. It had been a surprise for Ridge, something special to mark their reunion. She had imagined a private moment where she would show him the design, and they would laugh about how many times they had walked down the aisle together. But that moment never came, and the wedding plans were quietly shelved. Today, though, Brooke felt a sense of urgency bubbling inside her. Maybe it was time to bring up the idea of a wedding again. After all, they had been through so much together. Why not celebrate their love with a new beginning? With newfound determination, Brooke grabbed her phone and texted Ridge, asking him to meet her for lunch. It was time to have a serious conversation about their future. Ridge Forrester was hard at work, reviewing fabric swatches for the latest collection. His mind, however, was elsewhere. He couldn't stop thinking about Taylor Hayes, Krista Allen, and the secret he was keeping from Brooke. Ever since Ridge had learned that Taylor was suffering from a rare condition known as broken heart syndrome, his world had been turned upside down. The knowledge weighed heavily on him, and it affected every decision he made, including his hesitance to marry Brooke again. Ridge had promised Taylor he wouldn't tell anyone about her condition. She didn't want pity, and she certainly didn't want to be a burden on Ridge's life with Brooke. But Ridge's heart was torn. He cared deeply for Taylor, the mother of his children, and the idea of causing her any more pain was unbearable. Yet, his love for Brooke was undeniable. She had always been the woman who understood him, the one who knew him better than anyone else. Just as Ridge's thoughts threatened to overwhelm him, his phone buzzed with a message from Brooke, asking him to meet her. Ridge sighed, knowing that sooner or later, this conversation would come. He had been dodging Brooke's hints about a wedding for weeks, but now it seemed she was ready to address it head-on. Brooke arrived early, nervously fiddling with her engagement ring as she waited for Ridge. She thought about everything they had been through, their marriages, their breakups, the endless back and forth between her and Taylor. But this time felt different. This time, Brooke wanted to secure their future once and for all. When Ridge finally arrived, he greeted her with a warm smile and a kiss on the cheek. They exchanged small talk for a few minutes, but Brooke couldn't wait any longer. She had to know where Ridge stood. "Ridge," Brooke began, her voice soft but determined. "I've been thinking a lot about us lately, about our future." Ridge's heart sank, knowing where this conversation was headed. He smiled faintly, hoping to buy himself a little more time. "What's on your mind, Logan?" Brooke took a deep breath, her blue eyes locking onto his. "I know we've said before that we don't need a big wedding to prove our love, but maybe it would be nice to do it again, to celebrate us with our friends and family. What do you think?" Ridge shifted uncomfortably in his seat, running a hand through his salt and pepper hair. He had been dreading this moment. How could he explain his hesitation without telling Brooke the truth about Taylor's condition? "Brooke, I don't know if now is the right time," Ridge said carefully. "We're in a good place. Why complicate things with a wedding?" Brooke's face fell. "Complicate things? Ridge, it wouldn't be complicated. It would be a celebration, a chance for us to start fresh, to put all the drama behind us. Don't you want that?" Ridge hesitated, guilt gnawing at him. "Of course I do, but it's more complicated than you think." Brooke's heart clenched. Is this about Taylor? The question hung in the air between them like a storm cloud. Ridge's silence spoke volumes, and Brooke felt a pang of hurt deep in her chest. "Ridge," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "why are you always so concerned about her? I know you love her. She's the mother of your children, and I respect that. But I thought we had moved past all of that. I thought it was finally our time." Ridge looked down at his hands, unable to meet Brooke's gaze. "It's not that simple, Logan. Taylor's going through something serious. I can't just ignore that." Brooke felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. "And what about us? Am I supposed to put our lives on hold because of her?" Ridge sighed, his heart heavy with the weight of the truth he couldn't share. "I'm not asking you to put anything on hold. I just need time to figure things out. I don't want to hurt anyone." Brooke's voice trembled with frustration. "But you are hurting me, Ridge. Every time you hesitate, every time you put Taylor's feelings above ours, you hurt me. I'm your wife. At least I thought I still was." The raw emotion in Brooke's voice cut through Ridge like a knife. He reached across the table and took her hand, his thumb brushing gently over her knuckles. "I love you, Brooke," he said softly. "But right now, I need to be there for Taylor. She's dealing with something that I can't ignore." Brooke pulled her hand away, the hurt in her eyes turning to resolve. "You always say you love me, Ridge, but love isn't just words, it's actions. And right now, your actions are telling me that Taylor will always come first." Ridge opened his mouth to protest, but the look on Brooke's face stopped him. She wasn't angry, she was heartbroken. And in that moment, Ridge realized that he was losing her piece by piece. "I'm not asking you to choose between us," Brooke said, her voice steady. "But I won't be second in your life anymore. If you can't commit to me, then maybe it's time we both moved on."